Now, going on to the segment John's going to take the steering wheel on. Our week 7 waiver wire targets. A lot of buys this week. I think there's like 6 teams on buys. A lot of running back injuries if you're me. Like for example, I got Christian McCaffrey and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, both hurt, obviously. In one league, it sucks. And I have Russell Wilson in that league. So, like, for people like me, John, how can you help us?
Well, first off, I think the biggest thing you said this week is bye weeks. There are a lot of bye weeks, and it's a lot of fantasy relevant offenses on bye weeks. Notably, the Cowboys and Chargers, who both sustained quite a few fantasy relevant
And Buffalo.
options. And Buffalo. I forgot about Buffalo. And Buffalo. And all three of those team elite fantasy QBs. They all have really good fantasy receivers. I mean, partially the Bills, but mainly the Cowboys and Chargers also have really good fantasy running backs. I would say all of these have fantasy relevant tight ends, not as much the Chargers, but definitely Dawson Knox and Schultz have been surprising. So just a lot of bye weeks, especially amongst those three teams who are very important for fantasy rosters. I know that I've been hit pretty hard because I have a lot of Cowboys and Chargers in my leagues. But for week 7, the waiver wire options, these are guys you can pick up as streaming options like I am doing for a lot of mine, or guys you can target to potentially fill in some holes and be starters depending on what happens with their situation moving forward. So started off at quarterback. These are 2 streaming options because I think for most leagues, these guys are not going to be starters long term, but they do have favorable matchups. That is Matt Ryan from the Atlanta Falcons and Tua Tagovailoa. I said his name wrong last time, and Dolphins fans slaughtered me. Tagovailoa. They have some pretty favorable matchups this week. For Matt Ryan, I believe they play each other. Okay, so the Falcons play the Dolphins defense, which has been pretty pitiful, and then the Dolphins play the Falcons defense, which has been pretty pitiful. So I would say this game could be potentially a pretty high scoring one because neither team's defense has been able to do a whole lot, and both teams are dealing with injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Notably, the Dolphins at cornerback with Xavier Howard and Byron Jones both missing time. So between those two, I would say take Matt Ryan as the safer option just because he's the veteran, more experienced. Calvin Ridley's going to be back this week. Kyle Pitts is getting in the mix. Cordell Patterson's been solid. So a lot of options for them to attack this Miami team with. But both of these QBs are streaming options this week if you're like me and you're going to be missing Justin Herbert or Dak Prescott or, like you even said, Josh Allen. Do you know the other 3 teams that are on bye week off the top of your head?
Minnesota, Jacksonville.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kirk Cousins,
Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. Now that hurts.
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
Jacksonville,
James Robinson,
maybe
Marvin Jones.
If you're desperate, I'm trying to find the last team.
Anyway, moving on to the running backs. If you're one of those people who has a Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler, Ezekiel Elliott, even Zach Moss, some of these guys, James Robinson, who are on bye week. If you haven't noticed, the Browns have been dealing with injuries at running back. Nick Chubb missed last week. Kareem Hunt then got hurt. And so Ernest Johnson, we've seen him in the past, been able to fill in the absence of one of those guys, and he's been able to do solid. I remember even last year against my Cowboys when Nick Chubb went out, Ernest Johnson and Kareem Hunt handled the workload, and Ernest Johnson had a really big game. So even if one of those guys, I would assume it's going to be Nick Chubb, would be the one more likely to come back because I think Kareem Hunt's going to miss a few weeks. If one of those guys does come back, Ernest Johnson is still viable because we've seen that this offense can sustain multiple fantasy relevant running backs. But if both miss, Ernest Johnson is absolutely going to be a beast. What are you going to say?
Nick Chubb already rolled out for Thursday night, so it's going to be Ernest Johnson and Demetric Felton. But Ernest Johnson, I expect, like you mentioned, would take the lead.
Yeah, Ernest Johnson should be the go-to guy here, but that does open the door. He's not on our post for the waiver wire list, but if you're on a deeper league and you need a deep option, Felton could be one too because, like I said, this offense could sustain multiple running backs, and Baker Mayfield is dealing with a torn
rotator cuff and
cuff.
I believe it's in his non-throwing arm, his left shoulder.
Regardless, it's something that he's playing through, but it's bothering him. It could just lead to more run game. So Ernest Johnson and potentially even Felton if you need a running back. The next guy, this one's a little deeper option. We've included J.D. Mckissick on here previously, but I think he's owned in quite a few leagues now, especially after Antonio Gibson has already missed some time, and McKissick has started to show that he has value. But Jarrett Patterson, he was an undrafted rookie this year. He really popped in preseason and training camp, and I think that he fits more of the standard first and second down sort of role. And so I know a lot of people instantly assume, well, the backup J.D. McKissick would instantly take that role because of Antonio Gibson potentially missing time. I wouldn't say he is. If Antonio Gibson does miss time, I think Jarrett Patterson and McKissick split the role. I think that McKissick is going to continue to be a workhorse on third and fourth downs, but first and second down, we could see a lot of Jarrett Patterson. And so he's a deeper option. I would say go after Ernest Johnson, but he can provide some value if Antonio Gibson does miss extended time. Do you know if he's missing this week yet?
Who?
Antonio Gibson. Do you know anything about that?
No.
As an Antonio Gibson owner?
Nope, don't know. So that's up there. But sorry, and just before we go on, the teams that are on bye: Buffalo Bills, Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings, Pittsburgh Steelers. That's why.
Steelers. So Najee Harris.
Yeah, Najee
Deontay
Harris,
Johnson.
Claypool. San Diego, Las Vegas Chargers, and Jacksonville Jaguars. Those are the 6 teams.
Los Angeles Chargers. You said Las Vegas.
I thought I said San Diego, but whatever. Yeah.
You said San Diego.
I got it wrong.
You said Las Vegas.
Anyway, I got it wrong regardless.
Next, final running back, DJ Dallas from Seattle. We know that Chris Carson's out until at least week 10. Alex Collins was great, but he did get banged up. He is questionable for this upcoming week. And DJ Dallas, he's been handling most of the receiving stuff, and I think that he could become a candidate to become their 3-down back if Alex Collins is to miss time. Even if DJ does split time with, I can't remember who the other running back is that got in the mix in this previous game. But Travis Homer, yeah, even if DJ does split it with Homer, I think that DJ, he provides more value in the receiving game, and so he provides PPR value. So he's the running back I would target if Alex Collins does miss time. At receiver, we have a few guys who we've actually already previously put on the waiver wire list, but they're on it again. First off, Rashad Bateman from the Baltimore Ravens, first-round rookie. He led his team in targets this week. They didn't have to throw the ball a whole lot like we talked about earlier, reviewing that game against the Chargers. But he led his team this week with 7 targets. It didn't turn into a massive performance, but it was just noteworthy because I think it means that they want to get him involved in the game plan. They want to get him involved in this passing attack, and they want to take some pressure potentially off of Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews, who have really been dominating the workload receiving-wise. Plus, Sammy Watkins has been hurt dealing with injuries. So Bateman could easily fill in for that workload. And just, once again, I think they want to get him the ball. So Rashad Bateman is a solid option to be picking up. Next, Donovan Peoples-Jones from the Cleveland Browns. Both Odell and Jarvis Landry are dealing with injuries. I don't know their status for this Thursday night game. But Donovan Peoples-Jones had a good week this week, even in the midst of a rough game against the Cardinals. I think that if both of those guys miss time, he should be slated essentially to become their top receiving option at wide receiver. So Donovan Peoples-Jones, if you're in need of a receiver, maybe you're an Odell or a Jarvis Landry owner, that could be your guy to pick up this week. Next at receiver, T.Y. Hilton, he's returned from injury. He is back. He was on the list last week, but he's on it again because he showed that he can still be a deep threat. He had a 51-yard catch from Carson Wentz. And like I mentioned earlier in our review, Carson Wentz only had to complete 11 passes in this game because for the most part, the run game was dominating. But T.Y. Hilton was very involved in this one. He took away some work from Michael Pittman, which I think a lot of people were, worrying about if they had picked up T.Y. Hilton last week. And I think this offense is going to be good enough to sustain both of them. So pick up T.Y. Hilton if you need a receiver. Although I would monitor his injuries still. I think he's still a little bit banged up and dealing with that. And then finally, at tight end, we have 2 options. Like I said, Dawson Knox, he's missing. Dalton Schultz, he's going to be out. The Vikings and Steelers have had a few okay options at tight end. But the other 2 offenses haven't really. Anyway, if you're missing one of those guys as your starting tight end, Evan Ingram from the New York Giants, this is a streaming option. I wouldn't put a whole lot of faith into Evan Ingram long term, but his route percentage is there, and with the amount of injuries that this offense has sustained with Kadarius Toney now and And Sterling Shepard, I think, is back, but Kenny Galladay and Darius Slayton are still out. Saquon's out. There's just so many injuries that you have to think that Evan Ingram has a higher chance to get involved, especially with the amount of routes that he's able to run for this offense. And then finally, don't butcher me, Bengals fans, if I mispronounce his name. CJ Uzuma, I believe is how it's pronounced. Tight end for the Bengals. He does have a lot of competition because he has to deal with Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. But he's found a way to become relevant in this offense that seems to be able to put up a lot of points. So I would say if you're missing your tight end, look to Uzuma right now because he is riding a hot streak. So those are our fantasy waiver wire options. If you got questions on who to pick up, trade targets, who to start and sit, drop it in the comments. We post on Instagram about fantasy every single week. Give us a follow there too.
What? Oh,
I just said give us a follow on Instagram.
sorry. I was like, you said that so quickly. I was like, I thought I did something wrong. So yeah, like John mentioned, if you need it, all the handles there. If you're watching on YouTube, they're Instagram. Our TikTok is at Shut Up and Ball. Same thing with our Twitter. That's the same handle. Facebook page, Shut Up and Ball. And then yeah, like we always mention, but just in case you forget, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Give us a free criticism. That stuff is free too to do. We much appreciated. And yeah, we will see you probably Thursday/Friday, wherever you listen or watch, with the picks. Oh, let me pull up the next week's spread for the Thursday night game. So Cleveland is favored by 3.5. John, it is at Cleveland. They are hosting the Denver Broncos. Who do you? This is a tough one.
Who are you gonna take? You go first because I don't know.
I think these like primetime games have been close, so I'm just gonna take the Broncos. I wouldn't be shocked if they don't win, but I feel like this is gonna be a closer game, and if not, then I don't have a feel for this game anyway, so I'm not gonna beat myself up over it. So I'm going Broncos, but like not feeling great about it. Once again, you bet on this stuff, you people that bet on the spreads and all this stuff, y'all some wild people, man. I can't do it. Can't live with that stress.
I'm a wild person. I'm gonna take the Browns.
So Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about the Broncos after the last 3 weeks. I think Cleveland, even despite their injuries, is the more talented team. And I believe in Ernest Johnson's ability to get things going after what I saw him do to the Cowboys last year. Now, the Cowboys' run defense was atrocious, so maybe I'm a little misguided.
I'm worried about Cleveland's defense. It's been okay. There's and then they also lost my guy Osu Koromora. He's on IR. I believe he's done for the season. So I don't know, but
I don't know either. I just, like I said, I don't know how to feel about Denver. I'm more confident, I think, in Cleveland than I am Denver, which is why I'm picking them. But at the same time, it's Ted the spread in prime time, which worries me.
Yeah. So all right. So that's our pick for the Thursday game. So actually, we start off with a disagreement. I think it's the first time we've disagreed on a Thursday night game. Let me go double check the tapes. Nope, we disagreed week 2. I think that's our first one since then.
Yeah, Washington versus New York.
Yeah, we've been on the same page ever since. That's really the only one, and that one was crazy because it could have gone either way. But anyways, that wrap it up for week 6 reactions. We will see you all very soon, and hopefully you enjoy your week and peace.